Hey, what's going on? It's Instructor Mike. All right, yes. I decided to take a little time to kind of let the events of what happened in Madison, Wisconsin mature. We're going to talk about it. The school shooting that happened in Madison, Wisconsin, for those of you all who don't know, and I want to say, how can you not know? But it's easy to not know if you're not paying attention or if you just don't get the news like that. But another school shooting has happened in Madison, Wisconsin, with this time a 15-year-old girl inside of Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin. Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin. So, those of you all who have followed me for quite some time, you know I speak about active shootings all the time, especially when obviously when they occur. We've talked about the one in Highland Park. We've talked about a variety of different ones, and I do study active shootings. So we're going to go on ahead and dive into it. Who you see right here on the right of me is a picture of the chief of police of the Madison, Wisconsin Police Department, Sean Barnes, who's going to give a press briefing if you didn't get a chance to catch it or whatever the case may be. Go on ahead and hit the like, subscribe button. We're going to go on ahead and dive into this. By the way, this video and the other videos that I use are authorized pursuant to copyright law, Title 17, United States Code, Section 107, for fair use, criticism, teaching, things like that. I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. And as a criminal justice lecturer and instructor of a variety of different disciplines, I use this for commentary and instructional purposes. Now that that's out the way, go ahead and hit that like, subscribe button, all that great stuff. Sound off in the comments. What's going on, James? Thanks for checking in. Anybody else who might be viewing this on X? I see 14 people are watching on X, 25 on Instructor Mike. Facebook doing this liberal woke thing, keeping my content down to a minimum because they just don't want you to know. And so that's fine. If you're on Facebook, I highly advise you to maybe go on over to YouTube, subscribe there, go on X where free speech lives and subscribe there. Facebook is a liberal woke platform and I got it because I got it. I'm going to use it till they take it away from me. I used to have a TikTok platform, 2 million subs. TikTok decided to do its thing. I don't really care. I'm not attached to any of these platforms. I just share the information. It is what it is. So if you're on Facebook and you're expecting to see me, yeah, don't, because Facebook's going to do what it does. So that getting out of the way, let's go on ahead and dive into this. Now, this is a very sad, tragic situation. It did not, you already know how I feel about these school shootings. Yeah, and I got some strong comments and opinions about the Abundant Life Christian Center or Christian church, not a Christian school, whatever. And it's not anything against Christian as a religion or anything like that. It's not about that. It's about protecting these kids, right? So let's go on ahead and dive into it. Here we go.
My name is Chief Sean Barnes, Shonbarnes. I'm going to give you a detailed briefing of everything that happened today and include some new information that was not available earlier, as I promised. The Madison Police Department responded to a mass shooting at the Abundant Life Christian School today. Officers were dispatched to the school, which is located on the city's east side at 10:57 a.m. They arrived to find multiple people suffering from gunshot wounds. 3 people, including the shooter, are dead. The shooter has now been identified as 15-year-old Natalie Rupnow, who went by the name Samantha. She was a student at the school, and evidence suggests she died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The official cause of death will be released by the Dane County Medical Examiner pending the conclusion of their examination. She was pronounced deceased while in transport to a local hospital. A teacher and a teenage student were pronounced dead at the scene at that school. 6 other students and a teacher were injured and taken to area hospitals. 2 students remain in critical condition and have life-threatening injuries. A teacher and 3 students were treated for non-life-threatening injuries. 2 of these have been released and discharged from the hospital. The other 2 survivors are considered to be in stable condition. At this time, we believe there was only one shooter involved. We are still working to determine a motive. Detectives have talked to her family members this evening, as well as conduct a search of the shooter's home here in Madison. The shooting happened inside a classroom in a study hall of students from mixed grades. A document about this shooting is circulating this time on social media, but we have not verified its authenticity.
How did she get the gun in the school? How did she get the gun in the school? I'm just saying, right? Let's continue. It's more of the same. It's more of the same. More of the same.
Abundant Life Christian School is being monitored by police overnight. At this time, no one is allowed inside or on the school property. The Madison Police Department is aware that people are hoping to hold a vigil at the school tonight. We're asking you not to do that, as this location is still an active crime scene. So I'm going to go over the timeline of events for you. At 10:57 a.m., a second grade student called 911 to report a shooting had occurred at school. Don't let that soak in for a minute. A second grade student called 911 at 10:57 a.m.
Yes, let that sink in. Let that sink in. Let that sink in for you educators that want to take cell phones away from kids. Now, I get it. The context, oh my God, they get distracted. They don't want to learn, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I'm curious as to how this second grader got to the phone. I don't know if it's their phone or another phone, the school phone or a landline. I don't know. But how did this second grader get a hold to a phone to call 911? Number one. Number two, shouts out to that kid, because that kid was trained. That kid was trained to call 911. It was a great thing, right? But when educators talk about, oh my God, the kids can't have phones, got to lock the phones, we got to secure the phones, this kid was able to get access to a phone and call 911. So let that sink in, because I understand why he is saying, well, let that sink in. Oh my God, it's school violence. You know, they're going to politicize this as being a horrible thing that occurred, and it's a gun violence issue, and it's this and that. Got it. We hear the same talking points all the time. Let's go.
To report a shooting at school. Officers were dispatched to the school at 10:57. A deputy with the Dane County Sheriff's Office was the first officer to arrive on the scene at 11 a.m. 24 seconds later, the first Madison police officer arrived on the scene at 11:01 and immediately entered the school. Officers bravely entered the building as soon as they arrived, not knowing what they were going to encounter. At 11:05, officers inside the school alerted people that the shooter was down and that a gun had been recovered. At 11:05, the Madison Police Department also began setting up for parents and guardians at what we briefly described earlier for you as a reunification center that occurred at 11:05. The Madison Fire Department was dispatched to the scene at the same time. They arrived at 11:05 and began linking up with officers who were also inside, and they were instrumental with providing aid to victims who were suffering from gunshot wounds, potentially saving lives. The first public notice about the shooting was posted on the Madison Police Department Incident Report website at 11:13 a.m. Officers began clearing the school building at 11:14, and bomb dogs started to clear the facility at 11:23 a.m. The Madison Fire Department began transporting patients at 11:26, Again, we want to stress that EMS arrived on the scene at 11:05, immediately connecting with officers to enter the scene, not knowing what they were going to experience. Press briefings occurred at 12:15, 12:30, 5:30, and now at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Let's talk a little bit about our law enforcement and our community partners. Multiple agencies assisted with the response to the shooting. The Madison Fire Department and several other Dane County and EMS agencies, the Dane County Sheriff's Office, the University of Wisconsin Police Department, the FBI, the ATF, all have played major roles in our response and in our investigation. We also want to acknowledge UW Hospital as well as St. Mary's Hospital for their work in treating the survivors of today's school shooting. Community resources. There are resources available to anyone needing help or needing someone to talk to. The Crime Response Unit with the Dane County District Attorney's Office have been mobilized. This is a group of people who are trained to help victims of mass violent incidents. This group is made up of social workers, attorneys, victims, professionals, former law enforcement, and other stakeholders in our community. If you need assistance, you can contact the Crime Response Program between 8 and 5 during the daytime. I'll give that number again, 608-284-6908, and you can reach them after hours at 608 376 0164. 608 376 0164 after hours. The Wisconsin Department of Justice's Office of School Safety and Office of Crime Victim Services are also providing resources during this critical time. Their critical incident response team program is designed to minimize the psychological impact of a school critical incident and helps to provide long-term mental care long after this is over. And I don't know how we can minimize what has happened today, but we're going to do the best we can to provide services for all of these children and staff. We cannot forget the staff who bravely took care of their students during this harrowing time. We also want to thank employees of the Dane Healthcare, which we spoke about before. Again, the clinic shut down for the day, and employees assisted with our unification process. We've also seen an outpouring of support from various community groups and businesses: Twisted Ground Coffee, Greenbush Bakery, Ian's Pizza, Culver's, Mission Barbecue, Starbucks, Salvation Army, and all who donated food for the Unification Center so our children could get fed and be taken care of while they waited to be unified with their loved ones. So a lot has gone on today. I can tell you that it's not over. I can tell you that our officers and our detectives and our investigators will have to be told to go home. No one is thinking about going home right now. They're going to still work as long as they can to find as much information as they can. Obviously, we want to have some daylight tomorrow, so the crime scene is locked down at this particular time, but the officers and detectives and investigators continue to work. This has been a rough day for our city. This has been a sad day. This is going to be a day that will be etched in the collective minds and memories of all those from Madison. It's been a long day for you as well. Thank you for covering it, trying to get the information out to the public as early and as often as we can. And with that, we'll take any questions.
All right, Laura, you want to go first?
Sure.
So here's the problem that I have. Y'all sound off in the comments. What do you think are some problems that I have with this entire situation? You know, I'm not proclaiming myself to be active shooter guru, whatever the case might be. All right, I don't know what happened just there, but all right, I know I'm saying things that I'm not hearing others say. What do you think are some issues that I find with this? It's beginning to be the same old song and dance. I think until people are actually starting to pay attention to these children, um, it's not going to change. The school failed these kids. Sorry, the school failed these kids. The school failed these kids. You thought God was going to come down from his holy habitation from heaven. You thought God was going to put his finger in the muzzle so that the bullet doesn't come out of the gun. Or Michael the archangel is going to come down from heaven and stand in the doorway and say, hey, not this Christian school. Luke 11:21-22 is a powerful scripture that reminds us that we have a responsibility to protect ourselves. We have a responsibility to do this. Look it up. Luke 11:21-22, for those people who like the Bible. Luke 11:21-22, it's the strong man parable. We have a duty to protect ourselves and to protect these children. Why didn't you have metal detectors? Why didn't you have officers there? Officer friendly, whatever. Make sure this officer is somebody who's well-versed in early childhood education and child development, so they understand how to operate in the school environment and deal with behavior. But make sure they have that mindset to be able to stop a threat before it happens. I mean, it is like, it's kind of like the Dylan Roof situation in South Carolina. I believe that's what it was in. South Carolina, where Dylan Roof came in or went to a church, where 9 people were at prayer and started killing them while they were in the middle of prayer. Oh, that type of violence is not supposed to happen in the house of the Lord. That's one of the perfect places to have it happen. Because you believe in God. There's a thing in early childhood education. It's a thing called animism. I believe it is animism, where children in their development start to believe that inanimate objects have life, like a cloud is smiling, or this lion can talk. You see what I'm saying? And it's kind of like when people watch Christian shows, like in Chicago, Channel 38 was a gospel channel, a Christian channel, or even 90.1 WMBI, Moody Bible Institute. And I won't say so much about Moody, but just giving reference to those channels. It's like you see these shows where in the show, God or an angel comes down, interrupts the cycle of violence, and saves the day. And then you project that as being how God really works. Like, you do understand God doesn't work like that. Like, tragedies happen because tragedies happen. And there are things that you can do to prevent things like this from occurring. And talk about the active shooter all you want. I won't join that club, because being a person who understands what causes these active shooters to do these things most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, Carl Mettinger, a psychologist, said this: what is done to children, they will do to society. An African proverb says this: a child not embraced by the village will burn it to feel its warmth. Until you adults start paying attention to children and paying attention to their emotional stability and their emotional development, and actually go get the education that you need so that you could be better, so you could put them in better microsystems, and you could put them in better situations where family really, nothing's going to change. Nothing is going to change. Nothing's going to change. And this could have been prevented. Why didn't you have metal detectors? Why didn't you have school resource officers, even undercover, like they don't need to be known, but even undercover. What about Project Veteran Overwatch, a veteran-led community-involved initiative of people who are active responders to school shootings and stuff like that on the outside? I mean, granted, this was on the inside. You know, I remember watching a movie a long time ago, Pearl Harbor, where they said a smart enemy attacks you where you think you're safe. A smart enemy attacks you where you think you're safe. And where did you think you were safe? We're safe in the arms of the Lord. Well, the active shooter counted on you thinking that you were safe in the arms of the Lord. God can't save you from that. He can't. Madison, Wisconsin's police chief talking about how well they were trained. Got it. Trained very well. But you couldn't get there fast enough to stop it. If in fact it's true that no man knows the day nor the hour, you don't know the day or the hour or the time where stuff like this can happen. Yet another situation where school officials failed their children. Yet another situation where school officials failed the children. It wasn't the police. People in politics. L228, what's going on? What's going on to the rest of you all in the comments? I'm going to start reading your comments. You said, I have worked security, a lot of Christian schools, and I can tell you that most Christians do not prioritize security because they are, quote, godly, and God is only about love. Luke 22:36, Psalm 18:34, and 144:1. Unknown opinionoid says all it takes is 4 to 6 special police in every school. If it's a private school, they can have special police, armed security. That could have been there. Absolutely. And I'm curious to want to know about this little girl, this 15-year-old girl. My thoughts and prayers go to her too. That's why I love being an independent member of the Second Amendment community, an independent member of the law enforcement community, an independent member of the firearms training or whatever community, and a strong advocate for early childhood education and for parenting and for family and consumer sciences. I love that I'm that. I love the evolution because I too have sympathy. Look, people crapped on Tim Walz for saying I sympathize with active shooters. I'm going to double down and say that he was right. I sympathize with them too, because the things that they went through that cultivates the mindset to do such murderous and disastrous things like this, they didn't ask for those struggles. They didn't ask for those things. The Robert Cremos and the Eric Harrison, Dylan Klebold and the Nicholas Cruz and all the other active shooters who have been through those things, they didn't deserve those things. And whether you know it or not, the one thing that we don't pay attention to is when people villainize, and don't get me wrong, we can compartmentalize several things. We can say what they did was abhorrent. It was the worst thing you could ever do because these children, these victims, did not deserve that. They did not deserve that. They did not deserve that. We can say that, but we can also say that they need to be listened to. The active shooters needed to be listened to. They needed to be paid attention to. They needed to have early interventions and not always be diagnosed as somebody who has a mental disease or defect. Maybe it's not that. Maybe they needed love and attention, right? How do we sit there in the education space and talk about children who are loved at home, go to school to feel loved, but those who are not loved at home, those who are loved at home go to school to learn, but those who are not loved at home go to school to feel love? How do we say what is done to children, they will do to society? Carl Medinger. How do we sit there and say Frederick Douglass, it is better to energize and educate and create strong-minded children and strong educated children than to repair broken men. How do we say these quotes? But then on the other hand, crap on the active shooters, which does what? What does that do? It actually creates more. Because if you think they don't watch these pages, if you think they don't pay attention to the news conferences, they absolutely do. Hey, Christy, what's going on? They absolutely do. I remember when the Robert Cremo situation happened in Highland Park. When I was on Fox 32 News, and I was with the Lake County State's Attorney and the former Aurora Police Chief, and we were talking with a variety of other different newscasters. It was a segment. And they're talking about different things about the laws and the guns and the bit. I'm always taking the angle of the child. What about the children? The African proverb is true. A child not embraced by the village will burn it to feel its warmth. How does the Christian school in Nashville get attacked? How does this Christian school in Madison, Wisconsin get attacked? You do understand that these active shooters do evolve, right? You do understand that they do pay attention. Oh, these public schools are becoming harder targets, right? They're getting police officers and things like that into these schools. And, you know, you got some like Inglewood STEM in Chicago where they're taking the school resource officers out of the schools, and a big brawl breaks up and fights and stuff like that and shoot. So what are they doing? They're evolving to going to these smaller Sandy Hook-ish type schools. Smaller, lesser seen, little known. Oh, and we don't need metal detectors around here because we're a wonderful neighborhood. We've got wonderful schools here. We've got wonderful schools here. We don't have crime. We do have resources. We don't have the things that you have in your communities. We're different. Okay. These active shooters are not, though. So they fit the same similar patterns. They fit the same patterns. And it's more of the same. And it's almost as if both Democrats and Republicans want it to still happen. I said it. I'm an independent. It depends on the issue. Conservative on some stuff, liberal on the others. I'm an independent. I love being in the middle. Do they want it to still happen? Because when it does, it gives both sides talking points. It gives the anti-gunners a reason to talk about guns. It gives the pro-gunners a reason to talk about having guns, and neither side are talking about the development of these children and the parents. Christy, you said it right there. Look at Ethan Kremley. I'll look at your comment again, unknown opinionoid. Look at Ethan Kremley. His parents dropped the ball with him. Absolutely. A lot of things are going down bad because nobody wants to pay first responders anymore. Nah, I ain't going with that. I ain't going with that bullshit. Y'all always want to get paid. Y'all always want to get paid. Some of you first responders, you fucking disgust me. I said what I said. You don't have to like me, give a shit. Y'all always want to get paid. Well, if you pay us, then we'll sit in the school. Fuck out of here, bro. If you really cared, you'd volunteer to be around the school in the event something happened. Most of you don't give a shit. It's really what it is. Most of you don't give a shit, and most of you don't even have time to. What did I talk about last time? Project Veteran Overwatch. You could easily do that. You could easily collect your resources and do that. There are some communities who have done that and are still doing that. Most communities have not. You really don't care about the kids. You don't have time to care about the kids. You barely care about them at home. And I'm glad these kids are acting up. I'm serious. I'm sorry. I'm glad that these kids are acting up. I'm glad that these kids are doing what they feel they need to do to get attention. I'm glad. I am glad. Because until you start paying attention to these kids, until you stop being an ignorant parent and projecting your problems on them and abusing them and mistreating them, until you stop doing that, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. If you don't start making it about these kids and about going to learn what you need to learn so you can stop putting them in your struggle, so you can start building relationships with other people who could teach you what you need to know or help you with what you need. There are people willing to help, but your pride won't let you ask for it. Your child doesn't deserve your struggle. Your child doesn't deserve your toxic words, your microsystem that's filled with toxicity. You shouldn't be living vicariously through your children. Your love cup should be filled by something else and someone else, not your child. No, your child doesn't have to love you. Yes, your child should express themselves and feel all the range of emotions. And you should learn about child development so you can get the capacity for their learning and their growth and their evolution. I didn't say let them do what they want to do. I'm talking about guiding them, being a good steward, being an educated steward. And I'm glad these kids are fucking you guys up. Not the shooting part. I don't like that at all. But I'm talking about when these kids go into the class and give their teachers hell, I am here for it. When you teachers sit here and complain and say the administration doesn't support your efforts, I'm glad they leave you to your own devices. Why? Because it's your job as the teacher to establish a relationship with your children, because no significant learning occurs where there isn't a significant relationship. So when you are a person who's a subject matter expert, but you won't pay attention to the children because they are triggering your own traumas and your own adverse child experiences that you haven't addressed, I'm glad these children are giving you hell, because you need to go seek some help so you could be better qualified to address and build a relationship with these children so that these children can be in the space to be able to learn. It's not the principal's job to help you build a relationship. That's your job. Some of you teachers are horrible. Some of you parents are fucking horrible. Some of you are fucking horrible. Not horrible people. No, all of you matter. But the shit that you've been through, these kids do not deserve your struggle. They do not deserve your struggle. Some of you fucks are horrible, and the kids are the ones who's suffering, and you're not helping them. And what are they doing? They're getting attention the best way they know how. Too bad it's costing people lives. Too bad it's sucking. But the shit's not going to change until you adults change. I said what I said. You ain't got to like me. Cancel me. I don't give a shit. The shit's going to still keep happening. That's the one thing that's not being talked about. And you can't afford to talk about it. Why? You're in politics and you need the votes. So because you're in politics, then you need the votes. You're not going to talk about it because you don't want to bite the hands of those who's feeding you. I get it. So I don't need no fucking votes. I'm going to be the one to say it. I'm going to be the one to advocate and say what these kids wish they could say. It's not going to change until you do. You could talk about this active shooter. You could talk about, oh my God, did you all watch the trial of Nicholas Cruz? Granted, what he did was some fucked up shit. But did you watch the trial of Nicholas Cruz and see all those people, except two, save for two, all those people who dumped on him, who just talked massive crap about him? You think the other potential active shooters didn't watch that trial? You think they didn't? And what are they saying? These parents still aren't learning. These teachers still aren't understanding. When are they going to pay attention to us? When are they going to? And guess what? Bam. There it is. So I sit here and send you the voicemail. You said, fuck that. Never mind. I could be busy. I could be in the middle of a meeting. But you're going to say, fuck that, because no one taught you any home manners about how to listen to a voicemail, text message, and leave a message. So you're just going to keep on calling. So I hope that what you have to say on the phone is going to be real good. And if it's something that you could Google the shit, I'm going to hang up. How can I help you? And no, I don't need your money. There you go. I hate it when people do that. And you know you do too. Not everybody is your customer. I charge low. I don't care. You can go someplace else. Yes, I'm like that sometimes when I answer the phone. Some of you see stuff like that. Stuff like that. When you don't train your kids about having manners and what to do and how to be patient and how to wait, what do? Dumb shit like that. Till you all start paying attention to these kids, it's not going to stop. it's not going to change. It's not going to change. The school system didn't care about these kids. And this isn't even the public school. This isn't even the public school. This is a Christian private school. And they can't even protect the kids at the private schools. Hey, you right, L228. Good morning, Vanessa. I remember the time when teachers focused on teaching and preparing the youth for life. Now it's all about social agendas. Hell yeah. Woke shit. I was just in a child development class. And instead of talking about child development one week, this teacher presented a book called The Prince's Boy, where and it was written by a black mom. I'm not surprised. Written by a black mom who lets her 5-year-old son put on dresses and call him a prince's boy. This boy's prefrontal cortex hasn't even fully developed. Why are we talking about a boy wearing dresses when he hasn't even had a chance to enjoy simply being a boy? Why are we not focusing on here? I got a Montessori spelling game. Why are we not focusing on things like this, helping them understand how to spell and how to do certain? Why aren't we doing that? Why are we? And you wonder why these kids end up with mental illnesses. You're deluding their minds. Not with this. This is amazing. I'll just put that up there. I'm sorry. But you're deluding their minds. You're making this boy think he's a fucking girl instead of teaching him life skills that he needs to know and making sure he can spell and read. He can barely read, but you want him to. No, I had to catch myself because you know me. You know I'll say something. If this was a comedy show, I would have said it. Black boys can barely read at their own grade level or above grade level, but you want them to sit here and focus on wearing a fucking dress and call himself a princess. And you wonder why they end up shooting up the schools. The shit's crazy. And it's more of the same. It is more of the same. It's more of the same. And shit's not going to change. It's not going to change. I don't care how many police officers you get. I don't care how many active shooter trainings you get. The active shootings are not going to stop until you start caring actually about these kids. Some of you teachers are just, your intentions may be good. Maybe. Your intentions just may be good. But some of you need therapy, psychotherapy. Some of you parents need it, especially if you're in the Black community. If you're in the Black community, you definitely need some re-education and reorientation, because a child's biggest opposition to their growth is more likely their parents. Because I'm gonna tell, I'm not holding shit back. I don't care what it costs me. I don't care if it cancel me. I'm gonna say my shit on my platform and on my page. I'm gonna say my shit. If you from the Black community, 9 times out of 10, your parent, more likely than not your mom, because it's more moms who are the heads of household than anything. Black moms ruin children. I said what I said. You ain't gotta like me. I don't give a fuck. Black moms ruin children. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm not talking about the fact that you're Black. I'm not talking about the fact that you're a woman. I'm talking about the fact that you, more likely than not, were not prepared for your child when you had your child. And you can't tell me about, well, ain't no manual for parenting. You live down the street from a library. You just don't like to read. Or maybe you don't know how. Or maybe the only books you want to read is about fucking Tyler Perry shit and tragic, toxic shit, instead of learning the things you need to learn so that you can take into consideration that your son is not just your son, but someone's future husband, someone's future father. Your daughter is not just your daughter. She's someone's future mother. She's someone's future wife. And so, yes, you got a bad relationship with the mother of with the father, the baby father, but you're not going to take parenting classes. You're not going to take emotional management classes. You're not advocating to the state representatives to get family and consumer science educational programs at Chicago State University like they got at Northern Illinois University. You're not trying to get better. You think you know everything, and you're the most ignorant person in that child's life. And I'm talking ignorant by virtue of the definition of the dictionary that you don't know how to read. And that definition simply means you're generally uninformed. You're the most stupidest person. And by definition, stupid means having or displaying a great degree of the lack of intelligence. You are the most stupidest person to your child's life, but you got the nerve to question them when they talk back at you, when they ask you questions you can't handle, when they bring homework home to you that you don't know how to handle. You don't know how to do the school homework. You barely know how to do family and consumer science as homework. And the only thing you know how to do is to push them to be a workaholic, a sexaholic, an alcoholic, and a domestic violence abuser. They're supposed to have emotional intelligence when you don't let them have their emotions. You tell them they're to be seen and not heard, but when they grow up, then you suddenly want them to fucking talk to you. Your biggest op could have been your mom. And you wonder why we are ill prepared for marriage, ill prepared for family. You talk about white people and how their kids go into schools and do active shootings, but say nothing about the violence that we have in our community. Our community is not a safe place. Until people start caring about the children, none of this shit's gonna change. You use children as the tools to get the bag. You do horrible shit to children, and you wonder why they turn out the way they do. It's absolutely horrible. I said what I said. Nothing is going to change until we start paying attention to these children. So I'm getting ready to end. Yes. 228. I definitely chose it. I don't care. Cancel, give a fuck. I don't care if you don't never come to my business, if you cancel me, if you don't subscribe to this, I don't give a fuck. I give a fuck less. If we don't care about these kids and we don't educate them, they don't. Why is it in 2025 we still claiming we don't know? You ask me that. Why? You answer me that. Why is it in 2025 we still claiming that we don't know? We don't know how to do things. There's no manual for parenting. There's no this, there's no that. Children aren't born with a manual. Yes, the fuck they are. Hold on 1 minute, okay? All right. You said at a certain point, it's every man for themselves. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It shouldn't have to be that way. A lot of our children end up doing called unnecessary things. They end up making unnecessary mistakes because we had ignorant parents who, by the way, were loving. They cooked well. They clothed us. They put a roof over our head, made sure we got to school, but they were very ignorant. And I give them grace because they don't know. They can't give you what they don't know. But how long you gonna not know? When Black women call themselves queens, I laugh my ass off. Why do I laugh my ass off? You can't tell me you a queen and they'll still complain about doing things by yourself because queens have help. If you study monarchies, what queen you know doesn't have assistants and servants? Queen Elizabeth and her sons, Prince Charles, and I think it's Prince Charles and freaking, you get it. That's not her son. Fucking Prince Charles is King Charles now. And his sons, Prince William and Harry, they got assistants. They got assistants, but you a queen. But us as sons don't get taught the things that we need to get taught. You set us up for failure. You are no queen, in my opinion. This ain't hatred for the Black women. I love Black women. I love people in general. What type of love do I love you with? Agape love. Philia. If you know anything about the 7 types of love, philia, just general brotherly love. Agape love, godlike, universal love. Those are the loves that I love you with. Not ludus, uncommitted. Not storge, parent, child. Not eros, romantic. I'm not in love with you. I just love you in general. But do you love your kids? And even if you do love them, are you skilled enough to teach them? The answer is more likely than not, no. I said what I said. I don't give a shit. So, moving on. You said the biggest problem is work ethics. My 15-year-old, she just got a job at Friendly's. I don't know what that is, but congratulations. You said because saying we don't know is an excuse people use not to be held accountable. Absolutely. 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 All right, let me get up out of here. I got phone calls and I got a class and a bunch of other stuff I got to get prepared for. So 46 minutes into it. Thoughts and prayers to those in Madison, Wisconsin. Abundant Life Christian School. I don't have nothing to say nice about you all. You failed your kids. Fuck y'all. I said what I said. Snapshot this. Throw it out there in the universe. Abundant Life Christian School. Fuck y'all. You failed your kids. You failed your kids. You failed your kids. I don't have nothing nice to say about you. Sue me. Give a shit. I ain't got shit for you to take from me. Fuck you. You failed your kids. How did the gun get in the school? How did the gun get into school? How did the gun get into school? Oh, we don't pat down kids. That's what she counted on. She counted on you not doing it. And she got off what she wanted to do. Y'all keep going. Keep going. You and your nice spaces and shit. Crime don't happen here until today. Well, it fucking happened there for sure. Who gonna tell me be careful? Hey, don't tell me be careful on my page. I'll block your ass. I'll block your ass. Don't tell me be careful on my page. I will block the fuck out of you. I said what I said. Because it needs to be said. You ain't gotta like me. You ain't gotta like me. You failed your kids. Until you care about the kids, nothing matters. You failed the kids. Ain't no defamation. How's gonna be defamation of character when they didn't fail the kids? That's why your ass is unknown opinionoid, because you got an opinion that's bullshit. That's not defamation. If they did not have metal detectors, when they know that active shootings take place, they failed the kids. I'm blocking you just because I don't like your ass. Bam, just like that. Just like that. This is my opinion. I'll do what the fuck I want. Just like that. Just like that. They failed the kids. You know active shootings take place. The last active shooting that we heard of in terms of the school, I believe, wasn't it not the Nashville Christian situation? They failed the kids. Good morning, Jessica. They failed the kids. They failed to protect those kids. I said what I said. Abundant Life Christian Center. They failed to protect those kids. Oh, here we go. Blake N. Not many schools can afford the 70,000 detectors and the security guards that you. Well, shut that shit up. Shut that shit up. I'm not trying to hear it. I'm not trying to hear it. Y'all love to provide excuses. You love to provide excuses. How many of the fathers who go to those schools pay for pussy? Come on, bro. I said what I said. I said what I said. I don't give a shit. I said what I said. Sue me. Ain't shit you can sue me for. I'm broke as fuck. How many of them pay for pussy? How many of them pay for drugs and alcohol and other kinds of things and isms and holics that they abuse? You mean to tell me they can't take some of that money and pay for metal detectors at this private school? Kiss my ass. Kiss my ass. I said what I said. That's just like the black community complaining about things, but you buying up Jordans. Kiss my ass. Why you think there's alcohol liquor stores on every corner in the black community? Daycares on every corner. Churches on every corner. Don't tell me you don't have the money. We don't make enough. No, you live above your means. You live above your means. So don't tell me what the fuck you don't have money for. and you said schools have the money, it's not being managed properly. We ain't even talking about the schools. We talking about these parents. That's what we talking about. That's what we talking about. They failed these kids. Y'all misplaced God. You sit there and you watch these mythical ass bullshit Christian shows. You are the peace that guards my heart of help in time of need. And you mythicize God. And you think God's going to come down from his holy habitation from heaven with a magical shield, and the Lord will fight the devils. Get back, Satan. That's not how real life works, motherfucker. That's not how it works. That's supposed to be theoretical things to give you the motivation to do real shit, not take that mythical shit and make it real shit. It literally tells you in the Bible, in Luke 11:22, the strong man parable, when a strong man fully armed protects his possessions are safe. But when a person who is unarmed can't protect himself, his possessions are stolen from him and divided amongst these as the spoils of war. And of course, I'm paraphrasing the scripture, but look for yourself, Luke 11:21 and 22. The Bible is not the word of God. It's an anthology, a collection of other stories with their walks in God and with Christ. You got the wisdom in the Bible and still you won't use it. That's why God allows stuff like this to happen, because you're stupid for no reason. It's in there and you won't use it. You'll say things like Ephesians 6:1, children, obey your parents. You'll make these children live in shame to follow what you have to say, but you didn't teach them anything. But you'll bypass Ephesians 6:4. Fathers, provoke not your children to wrath. Train up a child in the way that they should go. That's why the 2-year-old was able to call 911. But some of you fucking educators don't want the children to even have cell phones because you're a boring ass teacher and they'd rather be watching the phone instead of watching you. Here comes Blake with some more bullshit excuses. Metal detectors, key access cards for all entry, lockdown class doors, Alice training costs millions. Get the fuck out of here. There are cost-effective things that you can do. You can go to Ace Hardware and buy some fucking zip ties and zip tie that shit together to keep the door closed. That's inexpensive. We're the United States of America. We can't be filled with ingenuity. How do you think the bump stock device got created? And from the looks of your picture, you appear to be black. How many of our ancestors created things when the white man wouldn't give us anything? Don't you give me a fucking excuse. You're just lazy. You're just fucking lazy. And the kids are suffering. It costs millions. The cops need to be paid. That's why these children are failing, because their parents are fucking lazy. You don't want to go take a parenting class so you can actually learn how to be better. Blake, go make sure your kid, I'm put your ass in timeout. Go make sure your kids can read at grade level. Get the fuck out of my room. You said that they take it out on other kids. It's not an excuse, but an explanation. I don't know. I don't know what the first thing that you were saying was, so I can't follow up on the back half of that. But how many of you all get what I'm saying? All right, let me get out of here. I got a class, got to teach at 10 o'clock. I got to open up this Zoom. I got fired up for this shit. L228, you said ask every parent of a dead kid how much they would pay to get their kid back. The answer is the reason why we can afford to protect them. Absolutely. You said, I would hate to be one that pisses off Mike. You scary, bro. I'm definitely not scary. I'm just passionate about what I speak about. I mean no harm. Kind of. All right, kids going to school maybe coming from a home, maybe coming from a home where they are verbally and physically abused. Yes, yes. And they take it out on the kids, on the other kids. It's not an excuse, but an explanation. Yeah, now those two, yes, 1,000%, 1,000%, 1,000%, yes. Some of these schools are horrible environments for kids. Some of you parents, you're loving providers, but you're horrible for these kids. And the thing is, you're ignorant for no reason. Like in 2025 and 2024, there's no reason to still be this stupid about child development and parenting. Just say you're lazy and put your children around other people better than you so that your child's future is better than what yours will be. You are miserable, so you want your children to be miserable. They go to miserable schools with the collection of other children who come from miserable homes, and you expect the teachers to pull a magic trick out of their hat. Some of the teachers who care, some of the teachers who are miserable parents themselves, who just got a degree in English, math, science, and social studies, who are fucking horrible people, but great educators, and then you wonder why the kids are shooting up the schools. And it doesn't have to be this way. But until you address the unaddressed child within you, it's going to still be this way. School shootings are not going to stop. They're going to keep going. And if not, I don't want the school shootings, but I love it when the kids, not the school shootings. I don't want that. That's fucking no, not that shit. But when these kids give these teachers hell psychologically, oh my God, I am here for it. When teachers put on their social media pages, whoa, I can't wait till the holiday week. These kids can't wait to be away from your toxic ass either. They can't wait to be away from your toxic ass. Some of you are the reasons why they have bad grades. Not because these kids don't want to learn, but because some of you are subject matter experts, but you're not children matter experts. Some of you have no place being around children at all until the unheard, unaddressed, and uneducated or miseducated child within you has been re-educated and reoriented so you can treat these children better than how you were treated. Some of you are fucking horrible parents, horrible teachers, and it doesn't have to stay that way. It could be better, but you don't want it to be better because you're stuck on this hill of I'm right, when in fact you're not. So I end with this because I got to get set up for class. That was great. Hey, Jessica, you still here for this shit? That was great. That felt good to get all that shit out. Yes. My thoughts and prayers go out to the ones who lost their lives and the ones who were hurt and the ones who were in this situation in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm saddened that the children and staff had to go through this. Shouts out to Madison, Wisconsin Police Department for being prepared, but you couldn't do shit because you can't be there in time enough. But I'm glad you were prepared. But what good could it do after the tragedy already took place? And thoughts and prayers to the 15-year-old little girl who probably came from a fucked up housing situation. And even though, oh my God, what do you mean fucked up? They didn't live in poverty. She got everything she wanted. That doesn't mean that she was tended to psychologically. That just means parents are good at throwing materials at their kids when they don't know what else the fuck to do. When they don't know what else to do, they love giving gifts. Oh my God, here's a PlayStation. Love me. Here's a PlayStation. You say you want what? Jordans? Oh, I'll give you that. Have a holly jolly Christmas. It's the best time of the year. I don't know what you don't know, but here's some, oh my God, they're great at giving gifts. But that shit's not enough. It's not enough. So thoughts and prayers to this 15-year-old girl who probably was ignored so much and had gone through so much shit to the point where she probably started studying other active shooters. and was able to get that gun into the school to do this thing. It doesn't have to be this way. But like I said, until parenting oh, yeah. Hey, Jessica, we got to end with this. Look no further than the Menendez brothers, the show that they are watching on Netflix. They had everything, and his father was, so horrible. So horrible. And to penalize them, well, they could have done something different. How? They didn't know. Come on. Come on, man. Come on, man. Thank you, Jessica. We will end the show with your words. Or actually, L228's the teachers need parenting and teaching. Yes. Yes. I mean, I would like to see these teachers go through parenting classes instead of just harping on standards. Instead, they need re-education and reorientation regarding this too. All right, I gotta get out of here, y'all. This is Instructor Mike. You've been trained. Sign up in the comments. What do you think? I don't expect you to like what I had to say. Trust me, I know I'm going to have some negative comments, especially from the shade butter feminine hyena brigade, aka black moms who ruin sons. I love you more than you could possibly ever imagine, and ain't nothing you're going to be able to do about it, but you are ruining our sons when you don't go get the education that you need to go get so you can teach if you want to be the only one, or put us around better people than you. Most of us sons get ruined because you dumb, so we end up dumb just like you. And then when we do dumb stuff, what do? Well, thoughts and prayers, give it to the Lord. Oh my God. And then you feed us soul food, which is the worst thing possible, and then wonder why we got diabetes. You feeding us slave food. Why are we still eating chitlins and bullshit instead of learning how to eat right and diet and exercise? You're killing black men. You're killing your sons, but you love us. No. And I don't care if you never come to my business and patronize my business. Pay it forward by doing better by your sons and your husbands, or the men in your life, or better yet, yourself. You in the gym trying to get your big back small, but you're going to keep your son's big back big. I said what I said. You ain't gotta like me. But somebody gotta say it, because I know your child ain't gonna tell it to you, because you can whoop your child's ass. You ain't whooping shit the fuck over here. Damn, this was a good session. Shit. I love y'all ass. Bye.
What's going on, you? This is Instructor Mike. You can follow me on Facebook at Mike Brown or Instructor Mike. Follow me on.
It could be you as a citizen, and you walked up and you see somebody. It look heavy? I don't know. Special, that must be. But it's good to know that this can handle the high pressure rounds of the flooding. Ready to go.
Make eye contact with me. He's still trying to get it open a couple of times.
So chill.